Hey everyone, welcome back to this new episode of The New Critic, and today we're going to be looking at how Season 6 of Prison Break should be made. Now, as you all know, the revival season was released back in 2017, and since then, Season 6 has been somewhat in the works. It was confirmed by Fox in 2018, but unfortunately Disney bought Fox in 2019, and I think it's not a big priority for Fox right now because of that. Though the actors have been hinting at the possibility of Season 6. If you don't believe me, check out Dominic Purcell's Instagram. Now, it hasn't been cancelled, but it's just not in development right now as we speak. And while I was kind of happy with the way Season 5 ended, and I came to the conclusion that the show should probably just end there, there is still room for more opportunities with this series, just as long as it doesn't overstay its welcome. They could even end the show with Season 6 if they wanted to. So in this video, I'm going to be discussing a few ideas, speculations, and what this season should incorporate. There's going to be 11 suggestions I have. I'm not saying all of these ideas need to be in the same season, but this is just my opinion really. Oh, and please keep in mind, this video will contain some minor spoilers for Season 5, and maybe a few other details from some of the previous seasons, but nothing too major. And again, this is just my opinion, so feel free to agree or disagree with me in the comments. Suggestion number 1 is unique prisons or no prisons. Now, I get that the show is called Prison Break, but we don't need to see the characters breaking out of prisons in every single season, otherwise it would get old after a while. Season 1 had a prison, Season 3 had a prison, and Season 5 had a prison. Now, Season 5, they did more than just break out of a prison, obviously, so to go back to that again in Season 6, it would just be tiresome by this point, and they should do something different. But if they're going to get thrown into another prison, there shouldn't be too much focus on just breaking out of the prison, and the prison itself should be something that we've never seen before. In each of the seasons where they do break out of a prison, they always know how to shake things up, and they should do that if the characters are being thrown into another prison. But taking cue from how Season 5 ended, they could go in literally any direction they want to. Maybe they could do something that we've never experienced before. Or they could take cue from maybe Seasons 2 or 4, and maybe try to find a fresh spin on the ideas that they had in those seasons. Who knows? Just give us something fresh, that's all. Suggestion number 2 is Sheba and Lincoln's relationship. Now, if you've watched Season 5, you know that Sheba and Lincoln, they get together in the last 2 or 3 episodes, and they make a good couple, admittedly. Now, obviously, this isn't Lincoln's first relationship, and I'm hoping that if we do get Season 6, they expand on it and go somewhere with it in that season, and not result in yet another off-screen breakup. And please, don't kill her off. Pretty please. Suggestion number 3 is Michael and Michael Jr.'s relationship. Now, Michael's son was introduced in Season 5, and they did have some decent interactions with each other when they eventually, met for the first time, because Michael Jr. never really met his father. Season 6 doesn't need to pick up immediately after Season 5. It can be maybe a time jump of 6 months, maybe a year, and we need to see them interact more as father and son, and maybe they could incorporate him into the plot somehow. Just as long as they don't turn him into the next LJ Burrows. And besides, it'll make Sarah all the more happy to see their relationship growing. Suggestion number 4. No ridiculous storylines. Okay, so Season 5, you had Isil, and they were a terrorist group, and terrorists can do all types of crazy things. So at this point, I'm hoping that there's no nuclear wars of any kind, though there can be some kind of build-up leading to it where the characters have to prevent it from happening, that would be fine. No more bringing characters back from the dead because I think they've done that enough times now. Wentworth Miller, who plays Michael Scofield, had a very bizarre pitch for season 6, and you can Google it and it's quite interesting. Basically, Michael and Lincoln are forced to relive the events of all of the previous seasons again, and it's all being orchestrated by a former prisoner by the name of Tag, who's been watching them and keeping an eye on them throughout the entire series. We just haven't seen him, he's been hiding in the shadows. He wants them to relive these events because he wants them to reflect on the people they hurt, the lives they destroyed in the process of freeing themselves from the clutches of the company, and so on. But I don't think, that should be the focus of an entire season. I mean, they haven't put that pitch into production, I guess, so yeah. It could make for a fun filler episode or something like that, but I don't know. I guess it's just a bit far-fetched, that's all. But yeah, nothing ridiculous for this season, and I know this show requires you to suspend your disbelief from time to time, but even then, you need to draw the line somewhere. Oh, and I almost forgot. No coronavirus exploitation. No. I think there'll be plenty of that in the future. You could make up a story that incorporates a virus, but it shouldn't be the coronavirus. Definitely not. It would be relevant, but using the coronavirus would be kind of exploitive. Suggestion number 5. We need more Sucre. Now, Sucre is one of my favorite characters on the show, and while he did come back for season 5, he was barely in it. I think he was in 2 episodes, maybe 3. And I know it was a 9-episode limited event series, but even then, I feel like we still could have seen more of him. It's just that it was a short season, I guess, and they didn't want to shoehorn him into every single episode, because it wouldn't have made sense. Oh, and if you plan on introducing any new characters in the next season, don't kill them off right away. Give them something to do, and if you're going to kill them off, time their send-offs or their deaths appropriately. Please. Suggestion number 6. Where's Mahone? Now, Mahone was also a fantastic character on the show, and some people were probably disappointed to find out that he wasn't coming back for season 5. Though honestly, I don't think he needed to be in that season. And I do think the send-off for the character was great at the end of season 4, but they should consider bringing him back as long as they have a reason to bring him back, or at least provide some closure on, where he is, what he's up to these days, and don't kill him off for the sake of killing him off, unless there's a justifiable reason for it. Suggestion number 7. The CIA. Now, at the end of season 5, the CIA offered Michael a job, and he declined. But I do feel like the CIA could still play a significant role in season 6. I mean, Poseidon was, in fact, a rogue CIA agent. Maybe there are other rogue CIA agents, or maybe there's a couple of insiders from the CIA that are after Michael following the events of season 5. Who knows? Either way, it would be interesting to incorporate them into the season. Suggestion number 8. Isil. Now, Isil are pretty much dealt with a lot earlier than you would expect in season 5, and that wasn't a bad thing, but it did leave the door open for them to potentially return. I mean, after the characters escaped from Yemen, there's still room for them, in my opinion, to come to some sort of collision with Isil. I don't think Isil are going to give up that easily, just as long as it doesn't result in global nuclear war. And while I do enjoy the show when it gets political, I really don't want it to get too over the top. Suggestion number 9. Luka Abruzzi. Yes, John Abruzzi's son was in season 5. I'm not going to say where because if you haven't seen season 5, please go check it out. They could still bring him back and They could do so much more with him. Maybe we could learn more about his relationship with his father. I think that would be interesting, since John Abruzzi was such a fan favorite. Suggestion number 10. Relevance. Now, season 5 was very relevant for its time, 3 years ago. You know, you had the terrorist group Isil, and, well, in real life, there's the actual terrorist group ISIS. Again, not Isil, ISIS. There was also Poseidon's criticism of the US foreign policy, which kind of ties in with Donald Trump and his vendetta against Mexicans. I don't know. I don't do politics all that much. This is just what I read in the news. Don't judge me. You could incorporate, as I said earlier, some kind of virus or something like that, just as long as it's not the coronavirus. But depending on when the season gets made, things may change over time, and there may be other, relevant things that the season could touch upon. It could also look at social issues as well, just as long as it doesn't get carried away. And suggestion number 11 is a reason to keep going. Yeah, so after season 1, the big question was, what happens after the characters escape? Why should people keep watching? Well, breaking out of prison was just the beginning. So they obviously needed to flee the country and find a place to hide and sort of move on from everything. And, but that didn't work out, and then they got thrown into another prison in season 3. And when they broke out, they decided that it was best that they band together to, expose the people responsible for everything and take them down once and for all. That was the only way to get their true freedom. And with season 5, they had the opportunity to bring Michael back, and I really liked the way they did it. And it was nice to see, an old show like this come back. But why do we need a season 6? I mean, maybe we don't. But again, there's so much more they can do with the show. It just doesn't need to overstay its welcome. You can take all of these things that I mentioned earlier into consideration, but if you don't have a reason to keep going, then there's no point. And that's why it's the most important suggestion. So yeah, that was my pretty lengthy video on how Prison Break Season 6 should get made, if it does get made. There were just a bunch of tips, really. They want the essential things that were required. They were just my opinion. So yeah, this is gonna be my last Prison Break video for quite some time, until maybe some news surfaces about anything to do with this series. So yeah, that's it. Thank you all for watching. Please be sure to like this video, or share it, and subscribe, and hit the notification icon. I'm setting a goal of 1,000 subscribers. If I can get to that, that would be very, very helpful. You have to start off somewhere. I guess I'm a very small YouTuber, so you gotta start off somewhere. So yeah, next time we're gonna be looking at another TV show, one that is ending this year. And if you watched my announcement video from like a month ago, you'll know that it's Supernatural. I'm not the biggest fan of that show, but I like it. I don't love it, but it's been an interesting journey for me watching this show. I'm not quite finished with it yet, but I will be by the time the show resumes in October. So yeah, again, thank you all, and stay safe during this time, and I'll see you soon.